Y'all, I am late. I was working on some stuff. I am so sorry. I'm grossly late, like 30 minutes late. And I was so looking forward to this. I'm going to post something on Instagram to let folks know that I'm here. What's up, guys? Apologies. I'm so sorry. Gosh, I'm so late. This is what happens when I get thrown off my routine. I don't do it for 1 week, and all of a sudden I just completely forgot. Um, if you don't know who I am, my name is Labria Jones. I am also known as the Remote Work Queen, and I help people find and land remote jobs. I provide content that helps people find and land remote jobs. And on Tuesdays, I come here and answer questions that people have asked me on Instagram, on my Instagram post. And then I'll try to answer the questions that you guys ask in here. So I need to run to Instagram right now and right quick and tell people that I am live because your girl is late. Um, Give me just a second. I'm so sorry, guys. I was actually answering some questions for a magazine interview, some kind of interview about remote work. And I was, listen, I was in it. I was focused. I was getting stuff done. Can you close my office door? Okay. All right, guys. So let me get to these questions. Let me get to these great questions that people asked. First question I see is from Fadila Ahmad. You glowing, sis. What's the sauce? Actually, it was a filter. The sauce is the warm filter on my phone. That's why I was glowing. And I was sitting in front of the light. As you can see now, I look kind of ashy. All the light's gone. So that's the answer to that question. Let's move on. I need some help with the remote ready bundle. The attachments of 75 places is not opening for me. I just checked that. It's opening for me. I need to know when's the last time you tried it. Because I know earlier this year it wasn't working, but I fixed it like 3 or 4 months ago. 2 months ago? I fixed it a while ago. Someone said, as Daniela said, as a higher ed, in higher ed, working as a program coordinator now, I've been an admissions counselor as well and looking into project management work or corporate recruiting. Any advice? Corporate recruiting and project management are two very different careers. So first advice is figure out which one you want to do and which one you feel you actually have, looks like you have a background in both of those things. So program coordinator, project manager, same, honey. Same. It's more program coordinator, if you don't know, is sort of an entry level, in some cases, entry level title for project manager. So what I would suggest that you do, here's a couple of things you can do. One, pick one, focus on it. Two, create a resume for both, right? And I've done that before. So there have been times where I'm looking for jobs for project management and customer service because I have a background in customer service. And maybe I want a side hustle, right? Maybe I'm looking for a job. Maybe I'm looking for a side hustle. Maybe I'm looking for anything. There were 2 periods of my life when I was unemployed for 2 to 3 months. And so I was like, I'll take either one. And what I did was I created a customer service resume and I created a project manager resume. So you could actually do both and pursue both opportunities. I will tell you, do not sling stale resumes though. Make sure that in either case, whether you're applying for project manager jobs or customer service jobs, you are making sure that you are tweaking your resume before you submit it to include the keywords that are in the job posting. I moved my camera and it's weirdly placed. It's way too high. I feel like you guys this is strange. I've got to fix that. Are the conference replays still available for purchase? I think I answered her question already. Yes, they are. If you want more information about that, I hosted a conference called the Quick Commuting Conference. It was 3 days full of information about landing remote work, about living abroad, about cities that will pay for you to come and stay there, like where I live now, negotiating job offers, crushing interviews, all kinds of stuff, negotiating salary. I think I said the same thing twice. Setting up your LinkedIn, networking on LinkedIn, all of those kinds of things. It was 3 days, action-packed, full of information about how you can land remote work. And this person is asking for the replays. So I want to let you all know that the replays are available. If you go to the link in my bio, there's a link there that you can buy the replays. And we're only going to sell them through possibly the end of this month, maybe the end of next month, and it's $35. So the link in my Instagram bio, you can get it there. I'll actually put a link in the description here as well. This person says, Nadeline says, since the beginning of the pandemic, I've worked remotely as a systems administrator for a hospital network. And since the summer, she's been classified as a remote worker. I also work part-time at a popular cell phone company in retail. I want to make an industry change and work full-time remotely for the cell phone company. What are the ways to help me look and apply for jobs? So I'd love to know, are you looking for jobs at the cell phone company? Because you said you wanted to work at the cell phone company. So I'm curious, have you been looking for positions there? I'd say if you want to work at that cell phone company, that's the best place to start. And if you just want to make an industry change, it sounds like you're a systems analyst. That's not industry specific. A systems analyst, you don't normally have to have very specific industry knowledge. It's helpful, but it's not required. So systems analysts, like, the world is yours, child. There's remote jobs out there left and right for you. So please just go and apply for them. Go look for jobs and go apply for them. That's what you need to do. Because systems analysts, business analysts, like, there's so many remote jobs available for those folks. I don't know if you have the Remote Ready bundle, but in the Remote Ready bundle, there is a list of 75 places to find remote work. Go through that list, man. Apply for some jobs. She Travels 007. I work in higher ed as a financial. There's a lot of higher ed people on here today. As a financial compliance analyst, financial aid analyst. I'm really ready to transition into remote work. What's the best way for me to find remote opportunities? The best way for you to find remote opportunities is to start with the free guide that I have. I do have a free guide that shows you the best places to find remote work. There's about 10 to 12 in there. A lot of you guys have downloaded that guide and you have not used it. I'm going to tell you something. That guide is useless if you don't use it. It just is. Like, it's cute. There's a cute picture. There's a couple cute pictures of me on there. Like, if you just want to download and look at the pictures, but that's not going to help you get a remote job. So what I strongly recommend that you do is go and download that free guide and then look for jobs. Like, every week I get asked about a remote job, and I always want to ask back, have you looked, right? Have you looked for these jobs in some of the places that I've shared? So here's what I'm going to suggest. Download the guide and then use the guide. You've got to use it. There's about, most of the places that I've shared in there are remote job boards. And so you just go to those remote job boards and click on the categories that you're looking for, or you do a keyword search in there to see what you're trying to find. Additionally, if you get the Remote Ready bundle, I share even more places to find remote work, 75 places to be exact. And I even go further to show you how to do Google keyword searches called Boolean searches, which is basically talking to Google the way that Google understands so that you can get better search results. So that's what I'm going to tell you to do. So the first thing that you need to do, the best way for you to find remote opportunities is to first download the free guide. Second, use the guide, because again, it's useless if you don't use it. And then 3, if you want to take it a step further, get the Remote Ready bundle, because I share even more places with you. And I share with you how to do detailed searches in Google to get better results. Hopefully that answers your question, and good luck. Can you go over some of the easiest ways to search for remote international jobs? I have the Remote Ready bundle, just need a quick reminder of what to type. What you typed. So Twin Mommy Fab, you're asking about international jobs. And what I want to be clear on is, are you looking for a job overseas? Are you looking for a job for a company overseas? Are you planning to move internationally? Or are you looking for a company where it doesn't matter where you work, right? Because just saying international jobs is a little vague, right? So you could say, I live in Florida, but I would love to work for a company that's based in the UK. You could say, I live in Nigeria and I want to work for a company that hires people who live internationally. Or you could say, I live in the US and I want to work for a company that does not care if I decide to move to Mexico, right? So those are three very different things. But I'm going to say what I always say is the things that I share, the websites that I share, they're not specific to the US. As long as you go on there, some of them have filters that say international, some of them have filters that say the country, some of them have filters that say anywhere. Companies that just don't care where you work, right? So what I strongly suggest you do is go to the job boards that we've shared and play around with their filters. Also, keywords that I would look for is work from anywhere. That's the keyword that I would put. So she put international remote jobs in quotes. I wouldn't put international job because that's going to give you results that are a little bit wonky depending on what you're looking for. But I'd say anywhere, or I would specifically go to the job. The easiest move for you is going to be to go to the job boards and use the filters, check the filters. And in the Remote Ready bundle, in that list of 75 places to find remote work, I actually shared, I think, 3 to 5 websites that are specific for international work. Very specific to international work. So use the stuff that's out there. I don't think this is the one that you need for a keyword, like what to type in there. Use the filters that are available. You don't have to do any magic. It's already there, right? Just go to the job boards and click on the filters that are already there, and go to the Remote Ready bundle, which you said that you have, right? And go to that list of 75 places to find remote work. And there is a section in there specifically that says international. Pangian.com is one website that comes to mind. Let's see, who else? How do you keep your work-home balance when you're working from home? Do you block off time, rearrange your desk for a new vibe? This is a good question. So this person is really just kind of asking, like, how do I keep from going crazy while I work from home? How do I keep things balanced? I'm going to say this. I don't necessarily believe in balance on a day-to-day basis. I think that on any given day, you're giving more of your time and attention to one thing than you are to another thing. That is my belief. And I think that's on a day-to-day basis. But I think that over time, it balances out. Like over the course of the week or the month, it tends to balance out. But to answer the question that you're really asking, how do I just kind of keep from going crazy? I do have a schedule. So I have a routine. I work very well with routines. I get up and work out in the morning. I do that first. I take care of me before I invite anyone else into my life in the morning. And I actually get dressed to come to work. For me, that may not be a big deal for everybody, but for me, that's a trigger that starts my day. Like I'm starting my day when I take a shower and get dressed to come to work. And I've been working remotely since well before the pandemic, and I've always gotten dressed to come to work. And it's an important question because I say this all the time. It's really, really cool that my home is in my office, and it really fucking sucks that my office is in my home because it starts to take over your house. You can look up and like today, I was just in here working. I didn't even realize I was supposed to be on here. And that can happen very easily. I can look up and it's 10 o'clock at night and I haven't fed my child, who is 18, so she can feed herself. But I'll wake up and I haven't even talked to her. I haven't even fed myself. I haven't done anything. I've just been sitting at my desk. And that's why I say it sucks that my office is in my home because it can take over. And you don't have the social cues that you have at the office where, people are gathering around the break room to chat and you get up from your desk and go and talk, or people are rounding people up to go to lunch and you say, oh yeah, I want to go to lunch, or someone's closing their computer and walking by your desk and saying good night, I'm headed home. You don't have those social cues, and so it's really, really important for you to kind of build out your own routine and your own schedule. So here's a few things that I do because that's what you asked. I do have a routine on a day-to-day basis. I have a schedule. I don't know where my planner went, but I usually have a schedule. I write out a schedule throughout the day. Like, at 9 o'clock, this is what I want to be doing. At 10 o'clock, 12 o'clock, and I take lunch. I do not work at my desk and eat my lunch. I leave my office to eat lunch. Back when I was living in Atlanta, I would go for walks. So like people take smoke breaks, right? People used to take smoke breaks. I would take a walk break. I would go for a walk. I leave my desk for lunch, and I I leave my desk around 7 to go and cook dinner. I don't take my computer with me. There's no like, I'm going to flip these burgers and then turn around and be on my computer. I leave my desk. I leave my office. I close the office door and I go and cook dinner most nights. Um, and I almost insist on sitting on my couch and watching TV and doing nothing, at least for, 30 minutes every day. So those are just some of the things that I do. Um, I, I strongly recommend that you, at the very least, take lunch. Take an hour, even if it's just 30 minutes. Step away from your desk and take your lunch. Here's the thing. One, the brain can only be productive in 90-minute spurts. So that's one of the other things I do. I work in blocks. So I'll work on something fully focused for 15 minutes or 30 minutes, 60 minutes, or 90 minutes. No more than 90 minutes. Because once you hit 90 minutes, your brain starts to decline. It's not functioning well anymore. You're not being productive. You're having trouble focusing. If you've ever been working on something and then you realize like now you're just clicking on stuff, you're just scrolling, clicking on stuff, staring at the screen, you're not really doing anything. You feel like you've lost it, like you had it, you were going and you just lost it. Your brain needs a break. So I believe in taking brain breaks. I'll work in something called block scheduling. I'll schedule 60 minutes, set a timer, work on something, and then I'll get up and walk away. Or I'll hang out on Facebook or Instagram, give myself a brain break. And I do believe in taking my lunch, stepping away from my desk and taking my lunch. So really it's going to be about you intentionally defining what your routine is. I'm not going to tell you that you need to work out in the morning. Maybe it's better for you to say I'm going to work out at 7:30 because that'll get me away from my desk, right? It's going to be about you intentionally defining a routine that allows you to give some time to work, give some time to yourself, and give some time to your family. Because nobody's going to do that for you. You got to do that. Nobody's coming through the computer like, Mel, you need to go eat. Nobody's going to do that. Oh, and sorry, you also asked, this other question was very important. You said changing your desk around for a different vibe. One of the things I love most about working remotely is that I have the choice every day of where I want to work. That was the toughest thing in the pandemic, being stuck at home every day. And everybody was like, is this the remote work you were talking about? No, that wasn't it. That was not it. I like that I can wake up tomorrow and say, you know what? I'm going to go work from a coffee shop. Or you know what? I'm going to go co-work from a friend's house. Or I'm going to go to the co-working space. Or I'm going to go to the library. Or I'm going to go sit at the park. So that actually does really help. Thanks for calling that out. Getting a change of scenery, a change of pace, even inviting people over to co-work with me is helpful too. Because sometimes it can get a little boring in these four walls by myself. That's it. All right. Can you share how you went about obtaining your PMI ACP? So someone asked me about a PMI ACP. If you don't know what that is, it is a Project Management Institute's, oh gosh, Agile Certified Practitioner. Couldn't remember what it stood for. Had it for so long. So Agile is a type of project management. The PMI Institute offers a certification for Agile, and that is the one I chose to get. I took a class and then I took the test, and I took a class, I studied, and I took the test, and that's it. I cannot remember what class I took. I'm so sorry. I don't even remember what book I got. No, I used the book that I got from the class. I will tell you the test isn't that hard. It's a lot of memorization. It is really a lot of memorization. And it seemed hardest at first. I was doing self-study at first, and that's why I ended up taking a class, because I was like, what the hell? Have I forgotten how to study? What happened to my brain? So I ended up taking a class. I think it was like a 3-day class. And I want to say my company paid for it. So I'd say this: if you're working for a company that has project managers or that uses Agile, find out if they'd be willing to pay for you to take the course and pay for you to take the test. Okay, so do that. I would just say I took a class and then I did self-study and then I just took the test. The test is not as hard as you might think it is. It's really not. I don't think it's that difficult. It is mostly memorization. It's a lot of memorization. Have you heard of Arise Virtual Solutions? And would that be a good starting point for my first remote job? I don't think I've heard of Arise Virtual Solutions. K.A. Price. I assume that is a customer service company. That's gonna just be my assumption, just off jump. But here's what I'll say. If you are ever, I wrote a blog post about how you can find out if a remote job is a scam, because a lot of people are concerned about that, right? Like, is this a real job, or are they trying to scam me? I wrote a blog post about it maybe a month or two ago. A few things you can do to do your own research. One, go to Glassdoor or LinkedIn and look up the company. Go to Glassdoor and look up the company. Glassdoor is basically like TripAdvisor for companies, but from their employees and people that have interviewed there. So you'll see reviews from people that have worked there, people that have gotten fired, people that have gotten promotions. You'll see salary ranges. You'll even see reviews from people that have just interviewed there, and they'll talk about how the interview process was. So that's one place, Glassdoor. You can go to their LinkedIn and see who works there, and don't even be scared to reach out to people that work there. So K.A. Price, this question would be excellent for somebody that actually works there, right? So hit up their LinkedIn, click on the company's name, then click on people, and look for people that are in the same role that you're thinking about going into, and just hit them up, slide up in their DMs, send them a connection request, and say, hey, I'm interested in this company. What do you think about working there? So that's another one. The third thing that you can do is do a Google search and look up the reviews, just like you would if you were, say, going on a vacation or flying on an airline you've never flown before. You would do a Google search and see what the reviews are saying about that airline. Go and see what customers are saying about this company, right? So that's another way you can do that. So there are ways that you can do a background check on a company. I strongly suggest that everybody does that. They're going to do a background check on you. You should do a background check on them as well. All right, that's all the questions that was on my Instagram. Nia, I don't know if you're still here, but you asked if I would suggest a PMP over the CAPM. I don't have a recommendation on that, honestly. I think it will depend on whether or not you have any experience in your background that can be considered to be project management, and if you've taken any project management courses, right? Because the benefit of the CAPM is it gives you a certificate, a project management certification, with less background requirements, right? It doesn't have the education requirement and doesn't have as many hours requirement. So it's like a starter PMP. So it really just depends on what your background has been in. If you have the education, if you have experience that can be considered project management. And I want to remind you, you don't have to have had the title project manager to have done project management work. If you have done planning activities, if you've done communication activities, status activities, any of those things, you've done project management work and it applies for the PMP. Right. So it really just depends on what you have and what you don't have. And you could consider saying, well, I'm going to do the CAPM and then try to get a PM role. Or you could say, I'm just going to, instead of investing in the CAPM, I'm going to invest in the course so that I can meet the PMP requirements, right? Let me throw this out there for you, Nia. I don't know that I've ever seen a job posting that said CAPM recommended, CAPM required, right? So I don't know how much of a leg up it's going to get you. I've seen a lot of job postings that say PMP desired or required. I've never seen one that says CAPM. So maybe do a search and see if you see a lot of job postings that ask for a CAPM. And then you can make a decision there on if it's worth it. I did not get a CAPM, but I thankfully had some experience and some training at work that met the criteria for project management training. Like, for instance, I worked at the Home Depot and they gave us Six Sigma training. That counts as project management training, right, in education. We got training on business process review. That counts, right? So I used a lot of the education that I already had and some of the experience I already had. I wasn't considered a project manager, but I had done project management type work. So I did that. And then I also got my company to pay for a couple of classes too. So those are some things you can take into consideration. Hey, Alicia. A company might be legit, but scammers have used the name of an employee at a company as a way to scam people. Okay. I would need more information. What are you referring to? Can you be more specific? They're using the name to do what? Of an employee to do what? I don't understand that question. So I'm going to go to the post from last week, the one I missed Tuesday last week, where I was traveling to BVI, and answer those questions since we have a little time. This is random. I like random questions. Jason, thank you. I'm here for random questions. What do you think would happen if you shot something sharp at a hot air balloon? Okay, Jason. Let's see here. Any tips on finding a remote job that allows you to work overseas? Yes, I do have a tip. I provided it earlier. Make sure that when you are going to these job boards, you are clicking the boxes and checking the filters for anywhere or location independent, or or they don't care where you work, basically, right? So make sure you're doing that. Also consider, if you don't have the Remote Ready bundle already, get the Remote Ready bundle. There's a list of 75 places to find remote work. And some of those places are international. So you can go to that section. So there you go. Remote jobs for doctors. That's not a question. That's a statement. My response to that statement is yes, there are remote jobs for doctors. Again, the resources that I've shared in the free bundle, the free guide, as well as the Remote Ready bundle, are not specific to location. It's not specific to part-time or full-time. It's not specific to entry level or senior level. It's not specific to how much you get paid. And it's not specific to the type of job that you have. These are job boards that are consolidating information from a lot of different places that have job postings available. So it is likely, if you ask me, are there remote jobs for fill in the blank? My answer is going to likely be yes. I actually have shared a few job postings for doctors a few times in some of the reels that I've done. But yes, there are remote jobs out there for doctors. I happen to know a doctor who works remotely, especially now because telehealth is such a huge thing now, right? Mid to senior level in network administration, I have issues finding remote work that will allow me to go internationally. I'm going to go back to the previous statement. Make sure that when you're going to these job boards, you are checking filters for anywhere, okay? Network administration shouldn't be an issue for you. That's a pretty technical role. You should be able to do that from anywhere. All right, I think I hit all the questions. I'm so sorry that I was late tonight, guys. I'll pull my life together next week. And I look forward to answering your questions. Thanks for hanging out. And I do want to remind you again that I do have a free guide. I'll put a link to it in the description that shares my favorite places to find remote work. Again, the guide's useless if you don't use it. You download it, but you gotta use it. Again, there's some cute pictures of me. I'm not gonna answer your question, Jason. A few years ago, a company offered a job to me, and they pretended to be a legit company, and even pretended one of the company's VPs. But they raised so many flags. I said no. That's a good point, Alicia. So raise so many flags is the good point, right? So pay attention, right? You guys are smart. You're capable. And you know when your gut is telling you that something's not right, right? And you can always look these people up, reach out. I will say, make sure you're doing your research and just make sure you're paying attention to what your intuition says and what your gut says. Okay? Make sure you're doing that. Good job, Alicia, on paying attention to what your gut said. The Remote Ready, the free guide, I'll put a link to it in the description here. The Remote Ready bundle is less than $50, and it's a mini course that walks you through the 4 phases of how to find and land remote work. So the first phase is where to find the jobs. Where are these jobs at? And honestly, you guys see that was most of the questions. Most of the questions I got was like, where do I find these jobs? That is the very first section of the Remote Ready bundle. The second section is how to apply for the jobs, because there is a right and wrong way to do that, right? I don't want you just all willy-nilly clicking the apply button. Okay, I want you guys to be mindful and intentional about how you're applying for jobs. The third phase is how to nail the interview. I cannot tell you how many interviews I've been in where it's like, man, this is painful. This person did not prepare for this interview. This person is not confident at all. And so that whole section is designed to help you get confident enough to where you're rolling up in an interview, interviewing them. right? I even do a mock interview in that section as well with my good friend, Jenna Mulherin of Own the Interview. And then the fourth is how to negotiate your job offers. Because, dude, if they give you a job offer, you need to negotiate. They expect you to negotiate. And I'm especially talking to my women, my ladies who avoid negotiations and we just take what's offered. So we talk through how to negotiate a job offer and what you can negotiate besides salary, because there's so much more to negotiate besides salary. And that's the Remote Ready Bundle. Again, I will put a link to that in the description. You can also get it on my website or my Instagram, and it's less than $50. And you can buy it into two installments of $23.50. All right, that's it. That's all I got time for tonight. For those of you who found me, I'm so sorry for being late. Thanks for stopping by and thanks for hanging out. And I will see y'all next Tuesday. Bye, everybody.